Hi everyone, it is Christine here and I am so thrilled with how many of you have said you're going to join this stitch along and learn or refresh yourself on some stitches. So it's going to be extra fun because I've got some of my favourite stitching buddies to stitch along with me. And please let me know if you're sharing any videos or photos on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, and I would love to see your stitchery and your approach to it. I think some people are going to do samplers, some people might pick up the idea and do the dictionary of stitchery, maybe just stitching on pages in it or doing the little scraps of stitchery that I am doing. So it's free form, no stitchery police, join in as much or as little as you want, or if you just want to watch along. But yeah, open collaboration and really excited. And a big thank you to Kimberley, who suggested some additional A stitches that I will definitely look into, and they will probably come up next after this one because this is the last A stitch that I had from the book and just a bit of quick searching online today, which is Ainu Running Stitch. And so Ainu Running Stitch, I found it on a site called pintangle.com, and I'll include a link to it. And so it's a type of running stitch that comes from Indigenous people of northern Japan known as the Ainu, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And so apart from traditional applications, Ainu Running Stitch lends itself to experimenting with different thickness of threads, different coloured threads, and even adding beads on the thread that runs between the running stitch. So that's kind of cool. So the first thing that we need to do when we're doing Ainu Running Stitch is just do an slightly longer than normal running stitch. So I've just marked mine on with my friction marker. I'm using the same approach I've used on the previous videos of having some tulle in here, and then just stitching my, just with some large stitches, basting down my piece of scrap fabric, doing the writing using backstitch, and I just used another one of my crochet, vintage crochet yarns, and then I'm thinking I'll use this glistening perle crochet yarn that I also got in that same batch, and it is a little bit difficult to use. I started using it for the letters, but it was getting all twisty and untwisty, and probably just not showing up quite well enough, but I think it might work okay for the line of running stitch, so let's give it a go. And so I've got my iPad here with the instructions on it, so I'm not an expert in these stitches. I'm doing them along with you. Hopefully I will be able to show you well enough that you can follow along as well. Sorry, I will get it over where you can see it. Pop up through the fabric, and then we're just going to do our running stitch following where I put the markings on. You wouldn't have to do the markings. I just think this will keep me a bit more regular when I'm peering past the camera and the stand. It just makes it a little bit less clear for me. So I've had a lovely afternoon in between taking the dog for walks, of catching up on video. So great to see what so many folks are stitching away on and doing on the crafty side of things. So I've made a couple of these videos on Sunday before I go back to work tomorrow, because who knows what sort of busy week might be awaiting me. So I thought I'd get a few videos ready, and then I can just gradually release those over the coming days. I don't want to overwhelm you either, so let me know if you think I need to space the videos out a bit more than a day apart, but I'll see if I can do them sort of daily. There might be times I can't, or if I'm going to be loading another video, I won't overdo it. You don't need an overdose of me. Sometimes you probably don't need any dose of me, really. Especially when I'm having those days where I'm stabbing myself with needles or unthreading my needle, or goodness knows. Okay, so that's our row of the perle thread, and because I'm going to use a contrasting thread, actually I might just take it back to here. little bit of a slippery one, this one, which makes it just a little bit harder to, it's where the tulle will actually come in handy, because I can just pass a stitch where the tulle is rather than having to go through the fabric. Let's just make sure I haven't come through to the front. Nope. Okay. I do love these glistening PLAs, but they can be quite slippery. Slippery little suckers. Okay, so now we get to the next bit of the process. So we're going to thread up a needle with another thread colour. So I was wondering, I think I might just use this darker blue that I already have some thread for. So we'll just put a knot in the end of that. So we're going to then pop up, and again I just need to get myself where I can actually see the stitching, looking past my camera. So we're going to pop up in the middle below the stitch at the very end of our row of running stitches, and then we're going to come over halfway along and bring our needle down to below the end of the running stitch. Oops, and we're not going to catch it on our side piece, hopefully. So let's put a little couching stitch over that one, and then we're going to go to just above the next running stitch, and we're going to come down to halfway, come out halfway under that next running stitch. So it's going to make a little line between the two, and then we're going to go above where we've come out, and we're going to angle the needle and pop out at the end of that light blue running stitch. So it's going to make another couching stitch, and from there we're then going to go just to the above, so just above the light blue, and then we're going to angle our needle so that it comes out halfway along at the bottom of the light blue. So can you see that? Oops, and we've caught ourselves on the, definitely not a good idea having the handle on the side. On this one I should have probably angled it down. And then we go up to the top, come out at the end, below the end stitch, pull it along, and then going to the top, and then halfway along. So going to the top of that next running stitch, and then popping out at the bottom halfway along, and then going to the top and popping out just at the end of this running stitch, and then going to the top and popping out halfway along, and then popping out at the end, bottom. Again, that wasn't quite halfway along, but that's okay. I think I'll just, won't make you watch me rethread again. There we go. I'm going over and then popping out just below, and then going to the top and popping out halfway along, and then going over, and then that will be the last of that row. So that's really sweet. It's like almost it'd be great as a little vine. You could even do little leaves coming off that. Really like that. That is definitely a stitch that yeah, I haven't done that stitch before. Never even heard of it. Okay, well let's do another round of that, if you can bear it. So just gonna do our running stitch to start. It's getting really windy outside. The windows are getting buffeted. I'm not sure if you can hear it. They're making a little rattle on the windows. Hope there's not too many shadows. I'm filming this one in the night time. So I hope you're having a good day or a good evening. One of my lovely subscribers mentioned they've been having a bit of, well, I don't know whether it's a bit of or a lot of insomnia, and that they enjoy watching all the stitchery videos. So sending out restful thoughts to you, and yeah, hope you're doing okay. It can be quite stressful when you can't sleep properly. Definitely don't do well when I don't have sleep. I'm not my best person. Okay, so we're just going to tie this off. I'm using the tulle as well, just to give me that layer. Oh, sorry, just bumped the camera. Apologies. It's hard when I have it down this low. It's a little bit in the way. But at least hopefully you can see this way. Okay, let's do that. Put that needle out of the way. And then we get to do the fun bit. So I'll get another bit of my... I wonder if I should do this in red, or will I keep them both? Maybe I'll do this one in red. Is that going to be thick enough, do we think? Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Bit of a change. There we go. You just do our knot for the end where we pop it on our finger and then wrap it around a few times and then slide the knot down the thread. Okay, so we're going to start at this end. I'm just going to remind us where we start. We start at the middle of the last stitch, just below the middle of the last stitch. We're going to pop up there. And then we're going to go across and above, so just go above it, and then we're going to bring our needle just going above, oops, and then we're going to bring our needle out over, sorry, so this one's a bit harder because the frame's just a little bit in my way. Just going to bring our needle out at the very end and just below that first running stitch. Oops, come on thread. How can it be? There we go. Untangled. So it's going to put just that little couching thread across, and then we're going to jump over to the top of the next one and then pop ourselves out halfway along. And then we're going to go back up above that one and then angle our needle out to just below the end of that running stitch. And then we're going to pop along to the top, angle our needle down, and then we're going to go above, so we create that couching stitch and then angle ourselves to the very bottom end of that running stitch, and then across to the top of the next running stitch, angle the needle down to the middle of that and pull it through, then go to the top to couch and pop the needle out at the end of that running stitch just below it, and then to the top, angling the needle again to the middle. Oops, sorry, just bumped the camera. And then to the end, and then to the top, angle the needle down. And then I'll couch over that one out at the end. And then over to the top, angle out to the middle, and then pop over here. And then we can tie that off. So isn't that sweet as well? Lovely contrasting thread and a lot happening in there, and it's not too complicated once you get going. Hope I can keep that one in my in my brain. Hopefully I've done enough. So I feel like I'm on one of those infomercials where I'm saying, but wait, there's more. So I just had to add a bit to the end of this video, sharing the effect you get when you add beads to the Ainu Running Stitch. So I hope you can see where I've added some little red beads along there to the red thread. And I just think it's lovely, and I can see lots of applications for it as borders, or even sort of plants or vines, etc. So I'm going to show you on this row of the running stitches that I have added. So I've popped up at what we were doing previously at the halfway point below that running stitch. I'm then going to pop my needle down above that and angle my needle so that it pops out below the end of that running stitch. It's always hard on the first one, and this is a beading needle which is a little bit bent, but at least it fits the beads in. And so I'm going to use these little blue beads that I think you can just see here, which I've just put out on my felt stitching mat. So I'm going to add the bead now that I'm at that end position, and then I'm going to pop over to the top of this next running stitch and then angle my needle so it pops out halfway along. And then as you can see, we get the nice little bead sitting perfectly in the middle. I was worried they sort of move around a bit, and they do when you push them with the finger, but they look pretty even there. So again, just going to go up and put in the couching stitch and pop out at the end below the running stitch. We'll then pick up another bead with our needle, put it down the needle. We'll then go to the top of the next running stitch, angle our needle down, pop out halfway along below it, and then our bead's in place. Put the couching stitch in, angle it so it pops out below the next running stitch, pick up a bead, and then pop along to the top, angle down, pop out halfway along below, and then to the end. Nope, sorry, not to the end. A couching stitch, and then to the end below, and then pick up a bead, go to the top of the next one, angle down halfway along, pull the thread through, do the couching stitch, and then take the needle through to the end. Oops, come on needle. There we go. And then we're going to pick up another bead. These beads are sort of those multicoloured ones, so they don't always look blue. Sometimes they get a bit of a greeny or a bit of a purpley colour. So we're going to angle down to the middle of this one. And then we're going to do our couching stitch. And then we're going to angle to the bottom of this one as well. Oops. Go. Oops, nope. What happened there? Okay, let's try that again. Then we're going to pick up another bead and go to the top, angle down, and then do our couching stitch, and that will be our finish of that. And then I'll just tie it off at the back. So there we go. That is our Ainu running stitch with beautiful beading on it. So I hope if you've got some beads, you can give that a go. But regardless, I think it's such a pretty little stitch. So I really hope you've enjoyed that. So far, I reckon this is my favourite of the A's. But I am looking forward to Antique Stitch and Armenian Edging, one of which will be coming up next, but that will be a bit of a surprise. I'll put it in the description for the video. I'm putting the videos up as premieres so that you know what time they're going to go live. I've tried to pick a time that will be the morning, sort of in the US. It will be evening here in Australia, and hopefully it will work for people if you want to watch it as a premiere. I think that means that we can add comments in live and kind of respond to each other's comments in real time. Thanks for watching and take care.